Hey, welcome to another episode of Rooftop Rally Point. I am so glad you're here. I love sitting around the fire pit and talking with you about leadership skills and leadership actions that I learned in the trust depleted places around the world that work even better in your world. In other words, learning the skills and sharing the skills of leadership, rooftop leadership, from life and death so that you can use it in life and business. And here lately, we've been talking about Lawrencian skills, those what other people call soft skills. I call them Lawrencian skills, the same skills that Lawrence used to mobilize the Badu tribesmen to overthrow the city of Aqaba and the Ottoman Turks in World War I. You know, such powerful return on investment, return on leadership. And this week, we're talking about hospitality, but more specifically, we're going into giftology. And John Ruhlin wrote this book called Giftology. He really coined the term, but he didn't coin the process. I will tell you, Special Forces, all the way back to T.E. Lawrence, have been using a form of giftology, which is the giving of gifts to make connections and build relationships in high-stakes moments for decades, if not centuries. It is certainly germane to Special Forces. I learned it as a young man working in 7th Special Forces Group from some very, very seasoned team sergeants and senior non-commissioned officers and warrant officers. On one particular occasion, we went to Paraguay. We went to Paraguay in the mid-90s, shortly after there had been a coup attempt. And so it was especially timely for our team to be going down there and to help stand up what was going to be a new Special Operations Component Command within the Paraguayan military that would be coup-proof, that would be collectively resilient enough to not only stand against a coup in the capital of Asuncion, but to also train the other outlying military forces that were not as reliable on the values and codes and ethics, internal defense, if you will, necessary to build a strong, viable Paraguayan military apparatus. And we were the team going in based on timing and experience to do that. Now, my job as the detachment commander, while all this training was going on, was to coordinate and set conditions for a culmination event that would demonstrate at the end of our time there, this Paraguayan unit's ability to do these complex multi-echelon exercises. We need maneuver space, we needed air assets, we needed fires. That was my job as the commander, to work that piece while my guys were working the day-to-day training piece. Well, I failed miserably. I dropped fat like a hot potato. And don't forget, all of these dignitaries from the Paraguayan Parliament, from Southern Command, 4-star general was coming down to see this. This was a big strategic event, and I had not done the coordination properly. And so the rehearsals, we had the day of the range, but I didn't have the range and the assets leading up to it. They had been committed elsewhere, and I just had not done prior coordination the way I should have. My warrant officer, I told him that. He said, "Come with me, sir." So we went to this little shack on the outskirts of the Paraguayan base, and we go in there, there's salsa music blaring, and Chief, at the time, my Spanish wasn't good, he goes in and he starts talking with a little Paraguayan captain, little overweight Paraguayan captain, and they walked out high-fiving each other. I said, "What happened?" He said, "Good news and bad news. Good news is I got your ranges. Bad news is you got dinner plans tonight." So Chief and I loaded up. We went to this gentleman's house after we dropped the team off at our house, and little one-room shack, concrete structure, dirt on the floor, a little sheet covering the doorway, kids running around everywhere, roosters in and out of the house. And the guy takes us into his living room, so proud to show us his house. And he points on the wall, and littering the entire wall, not 1 ounce of white space, were certificates of appreciation from 7th Special Forces Group dating back to 1986. Creepy. That's creepy. But in that moment, I saw exactly how we got our range. I saw the contributions that one team after another team, after another team, after another team had made in building the relationships through the use of giftology, thoughtful, relational gifts to this captain that had culminated in the actual permission of me to get that range. So many lessons there. I teach this particular story at the Special Forces Qualification course, God, the smoke, when I'm talking about giftology. And now I'm teaching it to you, right? Gifts are essential to relationships. Humans are social creatures, don't ever forget that. And relationships are the asset. And the way to establish a relationship in the beginning when there's no trust is to present a gift. Stuart Diamond talks about this in his book, Getting More. But you won't find a society on the planet that doesn't use some form of gifting to bridge the gap when there's no trust. And even when there is trust, to continue the gifting as part of hospitality, as part of relationship building. Now, in this day and age, in the triple P environment where we're all pissed off, put upon Pisces, distrustful, disengaged, distracted, the gifting is pretty lame. We still do it, but we get that sorry-ass koozie, right, that we've got 5,000 of that just goes up in our closet that holds our cold drink. Or we get some lame bumper sticker or a keychain, right? That's not a gift. That's not giftology. That's called a transactional gift. That's where you're giving something based on your own agenda. It even has your friggin' name on it. It has no value to the recipient, right? I'm talking about relational gifting, old school gifting, where you understand the other party's needs. You've done the homework before the legwork. You know what their interests are, or at least you're trying. And you use the gifts truly to establish a human connection. Now, on the arc of the relationship, it might be an initial rapport gift, like when a Green Beret in the Q course walks around the fire pit with the guerrilla chief and sees him for the first time in that disengaged environment. He might present him, right, with cold weather gear if it's a wintertime event. You see what I mean? But down the road, when it becomes kind of a Jim Gant and Sitting Bull long-term relationship, he might present him with a Remington shotgun, right? Because he knows how much that elder likes to hunt. You see what I mean? Giftology transcends the length of the relationship. And believe me, the length of the relationship, the length of the negotiation is long beyond your own life in business and in other high-stakes engagements. Sometimes the relationship between organizations could last for generations. So, relational gifting is what we want to get into. Remembering that the relationship is the asset. So we can use gifts to make an initial connection. This is a coin from the hero's journey, right? And it has Find Your Voice, Tell Your Story on it. And I present these to people who help us on our journey to help other warriors transition and tell their story. But what I do, I don't just give them a coin. These are common in the challenge coins in the military as well, where commanders give them out. I don't know if this can be seen, but I tell the story of the boots on the wire, if you see that logo there. And I tell the recipient the story of how in the old days in World War II, when people left the service, they'd throw their combat boots up on the telephone wire outside the base to signify their transition. And I'm giving you this coin to tell you that you just helped a veteran transition home. Thank you. See that? Or if they really do something cool and help us volunteer, I'll give them the Hero's Journey ball cap, which my buddy Wes is. Now, normally they say, John Ruhlin says you shouldn't necessarily give stuff with your logos on it. But I'm sorry, this is a badass hat. And it wears well. People know that it's a quality hat. The logo's there. I can inscribe their name on the back. And I always tell them a little thing. This is what I do. I look at them, and if I'm giving it to Wes, I go, hey, Wes, here's our Hero's Journey hat. It's scuffed up just like me and you are. And they laugh, and now you watch, they'll have this thing on everywhere they go, right? Here's another example of giftology. This is a bracelet that I wear, the silver one, dedicated to Pedro Munoz. When we run our immersions with business leaders, and we put them through what we call the Pedro Challenge, which is essentially a grueling multi-echelon exercise that combines their physical prowess with tactics, with leadership. They go through it, and then we go out in the water here in front of me on my boat when they graduate, and they get this bracelet. And I tell them the story of Pedro and how he came back to Special Forces from the Golden Knights after 9/11, even though he didn't have to, and he led from the front. And he died protecting his team and an innocent woman who was being held hostage by a terrorist. And what if we all led that way? What if we all put the other party first and led for something bigger than ourselves? And then they get this bracelet. Now, I've never seen someone awarded this bracelet who doesn't wear it proudly and strongly because they know the story. That is relational gifting. There's so many different ways that you can do it. I'd like you to look at your own program. Here's a couple of recommendations. Write these down. Look at your own program of giftology. okay? Do you use it when you make initial meetings with prospects? How do you do giftology with your clients? Do you thank them? Do you let them know they matter at certain holidays and maybe sometimes just for no reason at all? Are you deliberate about it? What about after a transaction? Do you have a way of really showing appreciation to your client? What about your employees? What about your children, your spouse? What's your giftology plan there, right? In your business, it's a great idea to have a function of relationship management. It's something we take a lot of pride in our nonprofit, The Hero's Journey, and our for-profit Rooftop Leadership. Jamie Dunn leads our relationship management effort. She is a relationship manager. We're all relationship managers, but she keeps an unblinking eye on it. And she has the task of giftology. She comes up with these amazing go bags and poncho liners and other things that we continue to give as relational gifts to deepen the relationship and make the asset more powerful. Man, I hope you took some of this down because it can totally change everything. If you like these skill sets and you like the idea of moving the needle from instinct to skill on these primal connection skills, you need to join us at Rooftop Leadership Live, Leading Through Story. October 4th through the 6th, right here in Tampa, Florida, out at a cool retreat setting. Just go to our website, rooftopleadership.com. You can enroll and pay right there online. It's a small group. It's going to sell out. You need to be part of this. Thanks for what you do. I'll see you on the rooftop.